In this module, we're going to be covering VisionREZ structure framing, and we're going to be concentrating on the horizontal framing, which would be the floor system. So we're going to go ahead and pick frame floors. We're going to pick up and get our floor trusses as our default usage. Our information for that, we need to go search for it. So we need to pick the correct family, floor truss family. And we're going to pick the top one, which is 3.5 at 11 7/8. Say OK. And we're going to be 2 foot on center. We're not going to have a beam system, and we're going to have dislodge joins, so none of those members will join with one another. And I'm going to have a parallel edge family, which is going to be the same material that I'm using. So we'll put a floor truss 11 7/8 and say OK. I'm going to offset from core, so it's going to be a 3/4 inch drop down because of the sheathing that we're going to have inside there. So I'm going to say OK, pick my floor system, and say finish. It populates the trusses inside there for me, and it gets them in the right location. If we were to take a look at this beam system that we just placed in 3D, this is what we'll have. So you can tell that we have our beam system in there. I have the floor system at a transparency level of 80%, so we can see right through there. There's a 3/4 inch gap here for our floor decking. So get that back into view, and we're going to switch back over to our plan. There's a couple things we need to add. We need to split some beams, and then we need to add a beam system that goes below that's going to hold or carry most of these, and then we need to add blocking. So the first step we're going to do is split beam. We're going to split the beams on this end that are extra long. So I pick the tool, say finish, and it gives me a couple of different offers of how I want to do this. I want just to make a square cut. I want them to sit directly on top of a beam system that I'm going to add next. So the gap I want to have is just 0 inches. So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to pick the center of this column, and then it splits them. Now what I need to do next is add a beam. So I'm going to do place beams. So I want to be dropped all the way to the bottom there. And yet you did notice that when you do change these, it shows you exactly where you want to be. So that's where I want to be, at the very bottom. And I'm going ahead and select everything that I want to carry. Say finish. And then I need to pick over here which one I want. So I want a 3-ply 2x12 multiply beam. I'm going to start in the middle of this one and go to the end. And there's my beam. If we were to take a look at that in 3D, give you a little bit better idea what's going on there. Everything's just resting on top of that. So switch back to our floor plan. This is where we're going to add our blocking. So we'll go ahead and say blocking. And we need to pick the same material that we used. So I'm going to use another truss material. Floor truss, same size. Say OK. And I want it to be flush to top. And I do want it to be on edge. No holdbacks. Justification can be the center. That's fine. And minimum length piece can be up to 3 inches. I don't want anything less than 3 inches. So I'm going to say OK. Pick the trusses that I want it to be carried with. I have to say finish. Then I can pick the wall, and it adds the blocking automatically for me. On this end piece, I can add an additional piece here. All I have to do is just copy it over. So I'm going to pick the piece and type CO. I'm going to move it over 2 foot. Then I'm going to take a look at my distance. So from inside to inside, I'm 1 foot 6 3/4. So I'm just going to pick that truss and change this number to 1 foot 6 3/4. So after I've changed my size, I'm going to go ahead and just move it over with the tab button. gets it in there, delete the dimension I added, then we can take a look in 3D, and that's our floor system.